Now, in today's video, we're looking at the MONAR Canvas Speaker, and this is a high resolution display for photos and art, but it actually does more than that. It actually will play videos too. So, if you're really looking at being able to see the art from either the Renaissance period or any period for that matter that you're really into, the accompanying app actually has access to things like the Mona Lisa and other pictures where you can put on this display. But it takes it even one step further because you can also create your own art. You can actually take photos and convert them. You can use AI to create new pieces. And like I mentioned, it also does video and it does video extremely well. It not only will display photos and art, but it also has the ability to play music. It has 6 studio grade speakers that give you the ability to stream any content coming from your phone. But then it also has meditative content, so depending on you want to hear, let's say like fireplace crackling, you want to hear water running, you want to hear, like think about if you've gone to a spa and you listen to that kind of spa music, you can have that as well. Now, one of the standout features, in addition to the sound, is the display. The display is pretty remarkable for something this thin. It basically has a 178-degree viewing angle. And that means that even at extreme angles, like where we have ours, we have it in the entryway. As soon as someone walks in, you can actually see what's on the display from an angle. And everybody stops to kind of look at it because we have art there, but then we also have things that we've created ourselves. It also has an interchangeable frame that you can change out if you want to do that. It's something that you could either mount on the wall, have it resting on a table, or putting it on an easel. These are the options that you have. So let's take a closer look so you can see what I'm talking about and why you may want to be interested in something like this. It's super cool. And again, it just takes content viewing from a photo and an art perspective to the next level. And don't forget, it does video too. Let's go and check it out. Now, the thing that stands out the most from this Canvas speaker is the display. And this has incredible viewing angles. Every single person that walks in and sees it, they kind of stop and look at it and they actually think that it's actually a hand painted piece of art. And it's not until they get a little bit closer and say, wait a minute, that's lit up, or wait a minute, is this digital? It just looks really good. Also, it has, as you can see, this white frame all the way around it. A lot of what you see here is very interchangeable and can be changed in many ways. We have it resting on this countertop. This is kind of like our entryway. You could have this on an easel. You could have this on a wall if you'd like. It is electrical in nature, so it has to be powered. It doesn't have a battery backup or a battery pack itself, which is something I just wanted to highlight. So we actually have power running behind, and it goes into, again, this little cabinet here. And this is like in our entryway. Now, a couple of things that you'll notice also about it is that it has on the side, and we'll see this in a couple of seconds. It does have kind of like a jog dial, which is for volume. It's kind of has like a little record thing here that you can control the music playback if you're using it as a speaker. Now, from a speaker perspective, you have to understand that this is a very thin frame. And what we'll do is let me go ahead and pull it to the side so that you guys can see this a little bit. We're going to go just come here in an angle. So you can see right here how thin this is. I'm just going to put my finger right here in the side. So when I put this right here, this is about 3 inches, just shy of 3 inches, just looking at how long this area is. And it really is impressive the type of technology that they're using in order to get the audio that you're getting from this product. Because again, the form factor and the speakers are relatively flat and the cones and everything, you're going to get some great audio. But I would say it's not going to compete with standard, I would say, bookshelf speakers like the ones that you see here. These speakers, I just have them here because we have them in the entry when we're listening to music. I would do away with this if, and just use this if this is going to be your primary, or if you don't have any speakers at all, because it does have great sound. Now, the other thing I'll highlight about it is you do have the ability to choose from many arts or works of art. Accessing the art and making changes to your Canvas speaker really comes from the app itself. And we're going to go ahead and you notice that I have mine connected and it's connected to my network. You could have live lyrics, and with live lyrics, as you're playing music, it basically you see the lyrics showing up on the screen, and you can tie that to different art pieces. And you can see here that there's a lot of different choices here. We'll do this in a couple seconds, but I just want to show you there's a lot that you can do. You also then have World Gallery. Probably this is my favorite, the World Gallery. And in the World Gallery, you're going to be receiving suggestions. For example, this is Don Quixote, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And you'll notice how fast it changes. It is like really, really fast, the update. And again, you could just choose the different art that you'd like added to your collection. I'm going to go ahead and hit
the heart because I like Don Quixote. And if I go back into my gallery, I could also explore, different artists. So, for example, if I go into the Renaissance period, here I can have Mona Lisa, and boom, there's Mona Lisa. The image of the Mona Lisa is a little bit larger, so it does this shifting, right? I don't know if I'm a fan of that, but it just does that because of the size. There's some very well known, I'd say, paintings here. So let's choose this one right here. This is from the Sistine. The Sistine, I think it's his Maiden, and you can see this here. You'll notice. We'll go ahead and choose a portrait of Michelangelo. So you have that one there, right? And there's just so many different art pieces here that you can choose from. Those of you who are, again, into this Renaissance period can just go ahead and just peruse everything that's there. You then also have, so this is the favorite area. These are the ones that I have favored and I'm keeping. This is a classic one. Again, we all seen this one, the American Gothic, and look how good that looks. Just the overall quality is just so cool. We're gonna go ahead and get close again. I want to get close and look at the angle. Let's get really, really close there so you can see on an extreme angle. Look how clean that is. Just again, the display really makes this piece, including obviously the audio, but just the display just looks so good. Here is Napoleon. All right, look at that. Isn't that nice? And let's see, who else do I have here? You can see kind of like my choices. Let's see. Here's another one right here. Check that out. Now you're not just limited, right? Because we have a lot of art here. So you could go into Renaissance period, the Baroque period. You can see some of the pieces that are there. You can also go into any of these neoclassic, right? I want to choose. That's where we had that one, realism as well, and we already saw from realism that was the American Gothic. But there's other things here. If I choose, like for example, the Milkmaid, and again, this just the speed, how quickly it updates is like super cool. And let's get out of this. Then you have your collections, which is what you've selected. You've seen everything that I've hearted. You then have an AI studio, and the AI studio is pretty cool. You can actually use prompts to create anything. And I used a prompt to create, for example, a Pomeranian. So you're going to see that come up in a second. Let's see. Count of them. So you can see these are all the ones that it had generated. I had asked it to create different views of Pomeranians and just run with that. So you can see all the different Pomeranian animals here that I had chosen. I also then in the styler, you'll notice here in the styler, you can choose various styles. So you have clay, felt art, emoji style, watercolor. And here I actually chose different views of Nilda. So for example, here's one of those artistic renders of a photo that I took of Nilda when we were reviewing some sunglasses. And here are all the different styles that represent the styles that you see there. And you can see you can go from black and white to a high-tech cyber, as you see there. I want to say this is my favorite. I forget which style this is. This may be, I don't know which one it is. It's just not the line art. It may be the illustration. And I just like the overall feel of that photo right there. We also then this one right here, which is kind of like watercolor, right? This is, I think, is emoji style. So you can see that one. It's almost like very Pokemon kind of stuff. And then we have this one over here, which is a painting, right? So it's more like a painting look or a watercolor. So there's a lot of different things. You can actually take any photo and convert it, and then it will give you each one of those looks. Again, my favorite, I think, I was saying, is this one right here. You also then have the ability to work with albums, and that's another thing. So you can do videos, you can do photo walls, and this is kind of like a collage. I haven't played with the actual photo walls. I actually prefer the full paintings, but if you do something like this, basically you'll notice in every one of those little placeholders you can have an image and create that. I prefer having the full photos. From a video perspective, you can put things there. I'm going to go ahead and choose just a video. Mine are kind of boring because they all have to do with product reviews. So what I'll go ahead and choose. Oh, I have one right here I can use. And so here is when we were out in recently in Cancun, and we'll go ahead and have that uploaded, and you'll be able to have again some moving content on the screen. Now, once you name it, all you have to do is just tap on the photo or in this case, a video, and then basically it comes on screen. And when you look at this, guys, This looks really, really good. So this is our recent uh, mini vacation in Cancun. And I actually took these with some glasses, some AR glasses or AI glasses. You can see how good that video quality is. Again, the screen is standout, definitely standout. Again, your photo wall, we can play with that as well. I prefer again the full photos. This was a photo that I had added, a piece of art that I liked as well, and you can see how nicely that shows up in just the overall quality. Still, just love the actual video quality that you can see coming from the unit. You also then have some meditation options. So if I do Seagull Bay, so now what you see is the actual seagulls, and then there is the audio coming from the actual speaker itself again. And you can hear the seagulls in the actual ocean. I can choose the misty forest. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a mic right next to the speaker so that you guys can actually hear, right next to the frame, so you guys can hear that. Let's go ahead and put this right here. So here you can hear again, this is going to be really tranquil. This is going to be great for those of you who like those noises either for study, for work, or for sleep as well. So here's the Aurora Sky, which is another one. Real cool. Campfire. This is one of our favorites. Here you have Zen. This is really zen. So this is like you're having a massage and you're just like chilling, for sure. This is even great when I think about this. If you're in one of those, in a sub basement or somewhere where you don't have natural light and you need to have something that gives you the sense of openness, look at that picture. Again, the picture is just incredible. Just the overall quality that you're getting there. So you can use that. It does have the boring clock, and I don't mean the product is boring, but I'm just saying, you can, if you want to have a clock, you can have a clock. I with so much motion and video options, I don't know why anyone would choose this, but maybe there are some people who would. I just prefer again the richness of some of the other things that you have. The AI Studio, as we talked about, you can do a lot of design there. Let's go ahead and see what we can do in this area for a bit. All right, so I have some audio streaming through here, and we'll see how well it does. This isn't really known soundtrack, like anything that's proprietary. It's more of like an open source version. So you notice that I don't have any tracks coming here. But if you had the song that you chose that was one that's very popular from any of your favorite artists, you would get the actual lyrics here. Let's go ahead and choose this one. Choose this one. Now the other thing I've done is I've actually had like YouTube Music playing, and all the actual lyrics show up. So that does it for sure. This is more non-copyright content that I'm putting, but you can get a sense of kind of like the different video effects that you can get. And what you'd see here is you would actually see the words coming up as the images are simulating someone singing. Here's another view. That gives you kind of a sense of what's going on. This is pretty cool. Now, as I mentioned, you do have the dial here on the side, and this allows you to raise the volume. Now, one of the things I noticed, and it does have an EQ in here, which I'll show you in a second, is that I find that the speaker does favor a little bit the bass. And when I talked to the team about this, they said that they did recognize that, and that It seems like it was done somewhat on purpose. Because of the actual dimensions and the type of speaker that they had to choose, he wanted to make sure that the speaker didn't sound tingy or just too much in the highs. So I'm switching it to vocal so you can hear the difference. Switching it to classical now. That's jazz. Vocal. So you have some configuration. I don't know if they're going to add more options or you can change things, but still, even if I choose jazz, you can hear kind of like the poppiness of the bass. So the bass is definitely present for the form factor, right? But I would like to have more music separation in it. And again, this is still a very early release, very early firmware, but you can get a sense of what your experience is like. I want to give you another view of the speaker or the Canvas speaker now from the side. We're going to go ahead and put it like this so you guys can see that. So once again, you can see how everything's going on here. You can see here is kind of like the speaker grill that's going on. We'll continue to turn it around. Have a really sturdy handle, but also mounting here. You notice here's where your power comes in, and they can be channeled through here all the way to the bottom if you'd like to do that. And you can see kind of like venting and speakers that are going on here that help with the actual heat dissipation if any is generated, and then also helps just with the audio itself. I like having it at an angle. If I had a easel of some form, I would also use it in that way as well.
So guys, that wraps up our review. See you in the next video.